Right then, boys, still here in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. I ain't getting on well here. I'm hoping to head back to Bali at the end of July, the place that gave me Bali belly twice, the place that gave me this crazy eye infection where like all this was fucked, all here, I couldn't see out of this eye. The place that gave me a haircut so bad, it's resulted in this. But there was something about it. There was something just magical there. My daily routine was literally wake up at like 7 a.m., head to a coffee shop, get work done, head into town for some lunch, come back, repeat. But there was something special about it. There was something more freeing. And I see everyone say they couldn't be productive in Bali. They were just like getting sucked into all these bad activities and they were doing anything but work. But for me, it was perfect. I didn't fall into that trap. I didn't fall into any traps of alcohol or bad habits. I was so locked in and dialed, and I'm really missing it. I'm really missing just the convenience and the ability of what you were able to do there. Just so easy to just carry your laptop around and just open it up anywhere. There was, yeah, definitely got to get back there and get there for longer. But let's talk a bit about Etsy. Now, running an insanely large Etsy operation, as well as running the largest Etsy community for dropshipping out there, my ears are to the walls at all time. As well as that, I'm constantly on Reddit, I'm constantly in Facebook groups. I know exactly what is happening on the platform. And right now, all anyone can talk about is bans. And these bans are not just for drop shippers. You see it all the time. In the crossfire, drop shippers are getting hit, but so are real sellers. People who are at home hand making stuff. Maybe they're painting plates, maybe they're crocheting stuff, maybe they're doing POD, maybe they're selling some sort of digital product. They're all getting hit too. And if you take a look at Reddit, you will see that everywhere, because whilst Etsy are adding new restrictions to the platform, it can be very easy to get annoyed, put off, but you need to understand why they're bringing these restrictions, because in ways I massively welcome them, because Etsy had a massive problem. They're essentially easy access to payment processing. They had very little KYC, know your customer. New stores had access to extremely quick payouts. You could open a new store, get 3-day payouts with extremely little risk of losing those funds. So who took full advantage of this? Well, criminals, money launderers and fraudsters, right? People could launder their money through Etsy extremely quickly. They could get it from one bank to another bank anywhere in the world under the guise of an individual who doesn't exist, theoretically. And doing this, the buyer and the seller, even though in this case they're probably the same organization, were protected. Funds weren't getting seized. If a store got banned, they could get the money from Etsy on the buyer end, right? There was really no risk, and this was happening, hundreds, thousands of times a day on the platform. And that's just, a very surface level understanding, an example of that type of field. But there was also like much lower end criminals on the platform and everywhere between, the pump and dump stores, the no shippers, the people that were setting up these stores in random people's names. They were getting thousands and thousands of sales extremely quickly because they were selling very in demand products at like 90% off the original price. Or they were just selling like complete fugazi products. They were selling those, those AI, really cool looking tree bookshelves and stuff that just didn't exist. They were pure slop. No customers ever got a product. That the store was getting paid out because of how great the Etsy payout system is. The customer doesn't have to actually receive the product before you can get paid. And it was costing Etsy thousands of dollars, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, because it wasn't just isolated cases. It was widespread occurrences where you would do these searches and you would just see no shipper after no shipper after no shipper after no shipper. There was also people who were, less criminal oriented, but very sleazy oriented, that they were just mass selling IP products. They would have loads of stores selling these IP products, make thousands of dollars a day. And maybe these stores would last a month, 2 months if they were lucky, and they would just be rinsing and repeating this philosophy. Now the bad news with this, or good news in our case, is most of the time these people that were doing that weren't actually operating at a high level against the law, so they were just ending in massive lawsuits. It isn't the journey or the path that you want to go on into. So Etsy was dealing with a huge amount of pressure every single day from payment processors, legal legislation for KYC, the financial pressure with the amount of money that was just being refunded and sent back under these fraudulent conditions. So what exactly did you expect? Well, of course, if this is happening, imagine it was your business. This was happening on your business, you have to tighten up. But that's what makes Etsy nowadays so good and so easy if you can do it. Because if you run a good store and you sell good products, you're essentially handed a license to print cash. But let's talk about the 3 types of bans that happen on Etsy. You have your policy violations, creativity standards, and the one everyone's talking about recently, which is fraudulent activity. So to start, policy violation ban could just be maybe you're ban evading, right? Maybe you're ban evading and you're not doing a very good job at it. Or you're selling products you shouldn't really be selling on Etsy. Maybe it's IP, it's counterfeit, or it's just that like Shopify style products, like the portable blender bottle and it blends all your fruit, makes a smoothie or whatever. That just isn't the type of product for Etsy. Maybe you just are terrible at providing good customer service, so your metrics tank, you get lots of cases, you get lots of 1 stars. Maybe you just lie through your teeth on your products and make false claims. You sell jewelry, it's just metal alloy, but you're selling it as sterling silver, whatever. There's a whole bunch of different stuff like that. But those reasons and that reason for a ban is extremely easy to avoid. You just have to have a basic understanding of the platform, prioritize customer experience, and put your customer above profits. Now, I have done a video explaining exactly how to run the customer service on your store. Now, if I remember, I'll put a little card that pops up in the corner, but that will definitely help you if you're having those kind of ban issues. The next one is creativity standards. Now, this is just the visual side to your product, your photo and your video and the product itself. Now, does your product look like it was made in a cheap, lousy, dirty Chinese factory because you use terrible photos that are from 1688 or AliExpress? Everyone and their mums use these pictures. They've been mass used. They're all on eBay, they're all on Amazon, they're all on Shopify, they're all on these different sites. AI can quickly detect them, right? If you're using those kind of images, you're cooked. You're gonna just fail, right? You're lazy, you're sloppy. Good, I'm glad you got banned for this, because back in the day before AI was as good as it is now, we used to send our products to a product photographer, and she would take about 10 days to 2 weeks to get our product images back, and we'd get a video, and we would set a very high standard to the visual side of our products, because it worked extremely well. It works at converting customers and it works at staying on the platform. And now you don't have to do any of that. So now you can't even be bothered to use a basic AI image generation model to create product photos for you. AI can make you a prompt and AI can make you an image, right? You don't have to do anything, you're just choosing not to, and you're very lazy. There's also a caveat, a little twist on this approach, where if you can go back to the old ways of real photos for your products, maybe you just use AI to make semi-real looking photos and, imperfect photos that aren't great. They're a little bit grainy. The lighting isn't perfect, but it looks like someone's really tried to make an effort, because there's like this cult-like following at the minute. I see it on Facebook all the time with pubs and restaurants, where these businesses are making AI image like pamphlets, marketing material, especially like the World Cup. They're doing all these AI slop posters, and people are commenting like, use AI for marketing, I will not come to you, I will not buy from you, blah, blah, blah. And if you can like pander to that target audience, where maybe in your listings you say, no AI here and stuff, then you might find this audience of people who want to support you, and it makes you look like a real business, and you can build up a bit of a dedicated audience. It's not something I'd be wanting to scale into, but it's definitely something to kind of have on the side or have on a few stores, but it's food for thought with that. Now the big one, the reason most of you are probably watching this video, and that is the fraudulent activity bans. Now, I am all-seeing when it comes to what people have to say on Etsy, and right now it is a big mix of ideas and philosophies when it comes to this. You have the people that say it's all ID related, everything is being linked by IDs. You have the people that saying it's you just not having a good infrastructure, it's your proxies, it's your setup, it's this, blah, blah, blah. And other people that are just saying it's my name, it's my address, everything's banned, or the people that saying it's all bank related. Any tiny aspect that you have to do to multi-store setup is being scrutinized and blamed as the sole reason for that. Because the truth is, there isn't much concrete evidence as to why this is occurring. Now, I spent months, most of the first half of this year, heavily researching into why this was happening, and I thought I had it cracked. I thought I had it down, and I thought I had the solution in place that we were internally using, until it changed and it happened again. And we kind of have a solution in place, because there was a big ban wave with it maybe a week ago or so, and we were unaffected, luckily, touch wood. And if there was a one-stop solution for this, the one that we're implementing, it wouldn't be in anyone's best interest for me to divulge that publicly, because now we have been first to market with most of the modern methods when it comes to Etsy dropshipping and running multi-stores. And we quickly learned that if Etsy is strict enough on something, now for example, when Etsy dropped 14-day payouts on new stores, we found a solution to get new stores 3-day payouts. And we thought, okay, look, we've told people we're going to release this method, we're going to stay true to what we've said, and we're going to release the method. And it got patched. So I know if we provide the solution that we have now, that's not 100%, but it seems to be doing a good job for us, it will just get patched, and financially that is very irresponsible of me. And also you have to realize the people that will also be using this method, because the multi-store method for dropshipping and for us also coincides massively with the methods that these fraudulent people are using, which is why we're getting hit with it. So if I go and divulge this method and people start using it, so will the criminals, so will the illegal people. And it's going to get patched. It's not going to benefit anyone. Now, what I will say is it's a bit of a mix of everything. So you really need to be spending a lot of time examining and looking at your infrastructure, how you are setting up your stores, the patterns that there is, the information that's being provided, the quality of everything, the spread of unique information. You want to minimize the amount of matching info on a very high quality backend. And for those of you that makes sense to, you will understand that. And for those of you that it doesn't, then you're probably not at a high enough level for fraudulent bans to be massive widespread issue to you anyway. But if you can't solve this issue for you right now, and it is a big issue for you, then my advice would be go down the route of like print on demand. Use Etsy for digital products instead, or start looking at in-house fulfillment. I did a big video on that. If I were to start from absolutely zero today, that is what I would be doing. I'd be going down the in-house route. There is so much safety, so much scalability, and so much money to be made doing that. But if you are sick of bans on Etsy, or maybe you used to do Etsy, you don't anymore, maybe you've never done it and you think, I don't have the time for this, then go to EtsyMafia.com, because we're wanting to work with a whole bunch of you guys. There's more explanation on the website, and we will be giving you a piece of the Etsy pie for basically you doing nothing. We're not looking for any kind of investment from you. We're not selling you a course. We're not selling you info. You don't have to fund anything. It is just a little bit of your time. And that's that. Now, for those of you who are still wanting to get onto Etsy dropshipping because it's so fucking good, it is the best business model in the world. The cash flow is crazy, the profit margins are insane, and it's so easy to scale. But I know, this contradicts everything I've said in this video, because you think bans on Etsy are a widespread, huge problem. They're not really. We want what is happening on Etsy to keep happening, because if we can get the illegal activity off the platform, we all benefit. We all make boatloads of cash, okay? But if you're not having issues with fraudulent bans, maybe you're having the issues with the policy or the creativity. Now, my advice is just slow down. I know Etsy is exciting. It's a big, fresh, brand new world that you can make tons of money from, but just take it easy, okay? Don't rush. I know when you find that potential winning product, you just want to get it on Etsy as quick as you can. But my advice would be, take a breath, slow down, examine, look at it, examine the data. What is Etsy giving you? Look at it from all angles. Is this a fit on Etsy? Are other people selling similar products to this? How long do those products last on Etsy? Am I going to be able to sell this product for years? Is it going to be profitable for years? Am I diving into AI enough on this? Are my images great? Are my photos great? Now, we're not looking for perfection with this listing, because we want to get products up. We want to get good products up on the platform that meet our criteria. At this stage, we're not looking for perfection. So a good listing should maybe take you 15 to 20 minutes to get done. We want it up, and we want to be getting real data. Now, something that I am building out for the bootcamp part of Etsy Mafia is this tool which I keep talking about, which is essentially to find winning products. We want to use Etsy as, the source of truth. This is where the data that Etsy shows is 100% true. So we want to use that as our input. That controls our decisions. So if we're browsing and living on Etsy and we're finding products, they're on a new store, they're a bestseller, the store is less than 6 months old, they barely have any reviews, yet this product's a bestseller with 2 reviews, yet it has 100 favorites. Okay, it's had a massive amount of sales very quickly, so much so that it's probably all in transit still. Well, why? Okay, this is a product I want. Is this product going to keep lasting? Is it going to keep scaling? Can I source that product? Use suppliermafia.com to do that. Can I undercut them? Can I beat them on shipping? Can I make a better listing than them? Can I also find 5, 10 other different variations of this similar product? And if you can just keep doing that and that and that, using the data and then knowing what to do with the data, then Etsy is just going to be a playground for you, because it is going to be so easy. My other piece of advice, I talk about this a lot, but we want to horizontally scale on Etsy. Now, if you run one store and it makes you 1K a day, 1K a month, fantastic. But all your eggs are in that basket. It is very hard to run for long term and actively manage and keep alive a store that makes you 1K a day in profit, because the demand that's going through that, the eyes that are going to be on that, the potential issues that are on that, and the fact that Etsy, does like to just get innocent people caught in the crossfire with bans, means that you have one heart, you have one life. Whereas say you have 10 stores, each making you £100 a day, £100 a month, whatever it is, but it adds up to 1,000, you still make the same amount, but you have 10 lives. You're much more protected. You can test more things. You can scale more easily. You are quicker to find mistakes and learn from those mistakes without those mistakes just eating you alive. But I hope this video has explained the current situation to you. a bit more. I will do another video or an update in Etsy Matthew about the fraudulent activity, but it's still so fresh and it's still keeping things close to your chest when it comes to this, because like I said, we want to live and breathe Etsy dropshipping. We're not here to be doing anything illegal, and I'm not going to risk our operational setup for the sake of a video or a lesson when it comes to that. But anyway guys, I hope this video explained some things to you. Use the comments as a little bit of a tool to network, to chat about what's going on, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.